My name is Andrea S, and my husband is Kenny Stout. We've been married almost 8 years now, and I'm here to talk a little bit about my experience with Wild at Heart and Captivating, I guess, a little bit, the women's study. Prior to Kenny going to this men's event, we were in a very dark place in our marriage. I'm embarrassed to say that I was pretty much one foot out the door, not because I didn't want to try, not because I don't believe in fulfilling my promise to God and to my marriage and everything else. It's just had been a long, hard, and very, very bumpy road. So I don't even know how we came to CCV. I remember we visited a couple of times, and Kenny really liked it. We had attended another local church, and we just really fell in love with CCV. And then all of a sudden one day, Kenny met some gentlemen who he took an interest in, and found out about this wonderful Wild at Heart study that they were pursuing, and he told me he wanted to go. We both had very busy schedules, so of course, there's always that dynamic of, well, who's going to watch the kids, who's going to do this? But because it was something he was going to do with the church, and I had been so desperately praying for some type of miracle, I thought, what can I lose? And I really prayed about what I could gain too. So he started to go to the studies, and I think he was there almost every study. I don't think that he missed one. He may have missed one. And Kenny's just a very dedicated guy. When he sets his mind to something, he does not falter from it, which is why it was so challenging for me that we had so many issues in our relationship, because on one end of the spectrum, he was this guy who would just work so hard and see something through. But when it came to our marriage and to me, I just really feel like he gave up on us and gave up on me and kind of just left me out in the cold and a little bit lonely. So there were a couple of very dark years. I want to say at least 2. And just when I felt like I couldn't do it any longer, just when I thought, okay, this is it, I'm done, I prayed and I said, Lord, show me what to do. I don't want to leave my 2 daughters without their father in their lives. I had my father, and I know how important that is. But I just felt like my prayers weren't being answered, and I guess I got a little greedy and wanted it right away. I think it's just human nature. We all do that. So I prayed, and then one day Kenny came home and said, guess what, honey, I'm going to camp with the guys. And of course, my mind starts going. I'm like, oh, really? You're going to camp with the guys? What are you guys going to do? Sit around the campfire and sing Kumbaya? I just really had no idea what I was in for. And I was tired. I was working full-time, and then I'd come home and be a mom full-time, so I knew that I would work a full week, and then I'd have the children all weekend too, and then go back to work the following week. And Kenny was kind of transitioning from one job to another, so he had more free time than me, and felt a little resentful at first because I thought, geez, I'd like to get away for a weekend and, be able to just relax and be at peace with the wilderness and God and everything else. So I won't lie, I did get a little resentful, and begrudgingly at first I said, okay, let's do this, go ahead and go. Money was an issue for us at the time, but by the grace of God, a bunch of people got together and helped out, and Kenny was able to get a scholarship and go, so I'm very grateful for that. It was definitely God that was able to provide that for him to go, because he knew that he needed to save my marriage. So anyways, he goes for this weekend and comes back, and the first thing he does when he walks in the door is says, I need to talk to you. Let's take the kids somewhere, sit down, and I need to talk to you. And I can't remember the last time he just wanted to sit down and just have a one-on-one with me. I mean, we'd talk in passing, we'd do pillow talk, or just when we could, basically. But there was something, I could tell something was at him, and he really needed to talk to me. And he sat me down, We had a very, very long talk where he just went through and told me how sorry he was for how he had treated me so poorly for so long. And I really needed to hear it at that point, because like I said, I was done. I was already making plans to move on. Not because I didn't love him or I didn't love my children, but because I felt like it was starting to affect my emotional well-being and that it wasn't healthy for me anymore. So I really felt like it was time. And so when he told me these things, I was skeptical, very apprehensive and skeptical. And slowly but surely I started to see a little bit of change in him. He invited me to a retreat with a lot of the wives and the couples, where the husbands had attended the camp and they wanted the women to get together too and just meet each other and get to know each other. And I didn't want to go. I just didn't want to go. And I kept saying, my baby needs me. Well, my baby is 3 1/2, and despite the fact that she has chronic asthma, I have plenty of family members and close friends that know how to treat her and take care of her. I didn't want to go. I didn't know what it was all about. Part of me felt like he was faking it a little bit, and I didn't know why. It didn't feel right at first to me. And even as we got up to the cabin and met with the other women, I think that some of the women were sold, and they were just, they jumped in, feet first. And I think there were a couple of us that were just a little apprehensive. But again, the Lord has worked miracles, and I don't feel apprehensive anymore. I've opened up my heart, and I've said, okay, Lord, you've done this so far for my marriage and for us. What else do you have in store? I, for the first time in years, feel happy. I smile a lot. I just feel like I'm back to the person who he met, the happy-go-lucky person, just when I felt like all hope was gone. So I'm here to tell you this, and to tell you that you need to get your husbands to come if you're having issues in your marriage. It's a miracle, and God is the miracle. He heard my prayers, and he continues to hear them, and I know that he wants Kenny to continue on this journey. Kenny is loving his Lord. He is trying to participate and be active with the men and these new friends that he's made, and I've made new friends too. All the wives are just blessings, and I really just feel like this is where we're supposed to be at this point in our lives. And I feel like, had I not opened my heart a little bit and just let God take over, I wouldn't be sitting here today, and Kenny and I would not be working on our marriage. So definitely a blessing. I hope you'll talk to your husbands and give it a chance. I know it's hard to send your husband away for 4 days. Like I said, I was tired of folding laundry and doing dinner and work and everything else. The job never ends, but it's really, really, really important. So that's all I have to say. Oh, by the way, I'm surprising Kenny and sending him to this next boot camp because I'm just amazed at what it's done.